Well, finally, after a week of waiting, the second round begins for the Orange and Blue. We're going to get you set for Game 1 between the Oilers and the Canucks right here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. What's up, everybody? It's been so long. We're back and better than ever as we get you set for the Oilers and the Vancouver Canucks. Tom Gazzola live on location. Hudson's Bourbon Street, West Edmonton Mall. It is already busy here. Tables, the few that are left are reserved, and some nasties have already showed up. I will shout out the Wolf. I'm going to shout out Lieutenant Eric. I'm going to shout out Lucas. I'm going to shout out Andrea and Jay and Rip City Step and all of those that are going to come down here as we go through the evening. It's going to be a lot of fun, and to all of you who are tuning in via YouTube, good evening. Hello, what's up? And all of you listening on iHeartRadio, tune in as well as EdmontonSportsTalk.com. What is up? Hit us up at the text line 780-218-9999. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, you can get into the nasty chat. GCL Diesel, Edmonton's diesel fuel system specialists and providers of critical engine components for over 50 years. Let's go, Tom Gazzola, YouTube Trev, Matty Kassian joining us in a little bit. And of course, our Canucks insider for tonight will be the one and only Irfaan Gaffar. You might know him from Sportsnet. You might know him from Canucks Army. And Irf is a very, very good reporter dialed in with the Vancouver Canucks. He'll be joining us in about 10 minutes time. YouTube, Trev, how you doing, pal? Back at the EST HQ. Where are you at? Let's see that greasy beard.
Let's see. It is coming in pretty greasy. I'm not going to lie. I'm not too... there's no sugarcoating it. I don't look good with the beard. I can go a pretty lean mustache,
great,
but no, I'm committed now, right? So you can't take it off. I am a little superstitious. So, man, I'm so ready. Like, what the heck? This is. It feels like forever, Tommy. Like I was getting set for the pregame show. I'm like, man, I haven't done this in like a week. So I can't remember the last time. We had a week off from talking, an actual game. So it's good. I'm excited as all I can't say. Yeah, I'm very excited.
As everybody else is, obviously.
Like this is
we
great.
All are.
It's a Canadian matchup. Obviously, the last time was the Battle of Alberta. This one, it's been over 30 years. 92 was the last time these two teams went toe to toe in the playoffs. So I'm ecstatic. There's so many storylines going in this one as well. Obviously, all that transpired in the regular season. You got stellar talent on both ends of the ice.
Yep.
The question mark was Shilovs. Like there's a lot to dissect in this series, man. And I just can't wait. Let's just drop the puck already, Tommy.
I love it. Okay, you talk about that series in 1992. I was doing some digging, looking back at the two times Edmonton and Vancouver have met in the postseason. It was in '86. Edmonton won in 3 games. They still did best of 5s back then in the first round. And then the last time these two teams locked horns, like Trev mentioned, was in 92. And there's Fergie. Fergie, shout out to him. Oh, he didn't. He refused the GC. That's okay. It was in 92. Edmonton won that series in 6. And I actually have the last time the Oilers won at Vancouver in the playoffs, May 3rd. So 32 years ago in 5 days. That was a 4-3 win at Pacific Coliseum in overtime. Joe Murphy at 8:36 of the first overtime. Edmonton 7-2 all time against the Canucks in the playoffs. And the Oilers have never lost a home game to the Canucks in the playoffs. 2-2 at Vancouver in the postseason. It was crazy. It's a complete opposite of when the Oilers and Kings faced off. Obviously, 3 springs in a row. There's that recent history there. But Edmonton and LA in the postseason in the 80s and the 90s, it happened a bunch of times. So that was, the 10th time Edmonton and LA got together in the playoffs. This is going to be just the 3rd for the Oilers and the Canucks. So the numbers are very minimal when it comes to the playoff history between these two Pacific Division foes. You know what, Trev? I'm going to throw this at you. It is the question of the night as we kick things off. And I put it out there to all of those watching and listening to our audience. Here is the question of the night. Let's keep it simple. Let's keep it really, really simple here. It has been a week between games for the Oilers. Will it be rest or rust for Edmonton? What do you think? Let me know. I want to read those out as we progress through the pregame show. Trev, you get first crack at the question of the night. Rest or rust for the Oilers? You tell me.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, it all just depends on the players. Like, you look at Florida, they had a little bit of rest, and they lost in game 1. But then you look at Colorado, they had rest as well, and that they won their first game. So I honestly, I think it'll be rest. I really do. Like, I think this Oilers team they're set, man. Like, I'm expecting them setting the pace right from the start. Like, it would be such a failure, like, I think, if they they had the week off and they come in flat-footed. So I don't think, like, maybe in years prior, man, they'd come into this game, they'd be like, oh, weather the storm. But I think the Oilers are going to come in hot tonight. I think they're going to set the pace. I think it all starts with Conor McDavid. Like, it's you talk about players that in big moments, if you will.
Yes.
So I think Connor's gonna the whole team, they're gonna rally behind him. But it's not just him. It's Leon Draisaitl. These guys really want it this year. Like, they're extra motivated, Tommy. So I'm not expecting rust. I think the rest was maybe one day too many, because they're probably like thinking what we are as well. Like, let's get going. But like, I do think this rest it certainly helped them. For Evander Kane, obviously Adam Henrique still going through whatever he's going through. So I think it helped. But they're losing sleep, right? And they're just like, oh my gosh, like, let's get going. So I think that's going to help them, man. And it's going to be so exciting. I can't wait. So I don't think there's going to be much rust for the Oilers team. But yeah, that's my thoughts, Tommy.
Okay, I'm going to go like this with the question of the night. Rest or rust for the Oilers? What do you think is more of a factor? You let us know, 780-218-9999. And then, of course, in the nasty chat, if you're watching on YouTube, I will say rust. Because I'm not going to sit on the fence on this one, but only for maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Then I think once the legs get going and they get that, muscle memory, the fast twitch going, maybe Canucks come out fast out of the gate. Maybe the Canucks throw a few hits and wake up the Oilers. But I think in the first 10 to 15 minutes, rust. And then I think they get their legs going. And if you're an Oiler fan, if it is rust for those first 10 to 15 minutes, you just hope that it's even on the scoreboard, or the damage is minimal, maybe down one. I don't want to think negatively. I think it would be better, obviously, from an Oilers standpoint, if they're up 1-0 in the first 10 to 15 minutes. Maybe they get to Arturs Shilovs. Who knows? This is a guy that has never faced the Edmonton Oilers in his entire pro career. He's a younger guy, 23 years of age. But I will just say I'll go rust, but 10 to 15 minutes. That's the caveat there that I'm going to put on that. So let us know. It's the question of the night, 780-218-9999, or via the nasty chat. With it being a week between games, will it be rest or rust tonight for the Oilers? Let us know. All right. Gaffar on the way in a couple of minutes. Let's go to starting lineups. This is how the Oilers and the Canucks have been skating the last couple of days. And I won't be surprised if we see a couple of tweaks or a tweak to the top line for the Oilers. But as of right now, it looks like Matthias Janmark will be on the left side with Conor McDavid and Zach Hyman. We'll see how long that lasts. Maybe he plays well. Maybe he contributes offensively. Maybe it stays that way. I don't know. As for the second line, Draisaitl between Nugent Hopkins and Kane. McLeod between Holloway and Perry. Then you got Derek Ryan with Warren Foegele, the 20-goal scorer on the fourth line as of right now, and Conor Brown about to make his playoff debut in orange and blue. Will he be Mike Pekka? Like I said he would be. Oh, I don't know, like in December. There's Corey B. He made it all the way from up north. Did you drive safely? He drives safely. You're full of crap. You know that? You were going too fast. He walked away. He got his GC. He's good to go. Corey B, of course, got that tattoo, the EST tattoo on his leg, and it looked awesome. Okay, defense for the Oilers. Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with Ceci, Kulak with Desharnais, and no Adam Henrique, day-to-day lower body, as we're calling it. Talking with Derek Van Diest from Post Media, or pardon me, NHL.com now. DVD suspects, having watched the game tape, going back and looking at it, he thinks that it might be an ankle for Henrique. I don't know for sure. Gets a little murky this time of year when it comes to what exactly players are dealing with injury-wise. No Carrick, no Stetcher, no Gagne as well for the orange and blue. And somebody was texting in earlier today on the Oil Stream afternoon edition, something about Jack Campbell. Let's just get that out of our heads. Get it out of there. Get it out of there. Let's go to the Canucks side of things. JT Miller between Puce Suter, Brock Besser on the other side of Miller on the top line. Then you've got Elias Pettersson between Nils Höglander and Ilya Mikheyev. Elias Lindholm centering Dakota Joshua and Connor Garland. And then you've got Teddy Bluger between Phil DiGiuseppe and Sam Lafferty. On defense for the Canucks, Quinn Hughes paired up with Philip Hronik, Carson Soucy with Tyler Myers, and Nikita Zadorov with Ian Cole. You'll remember Zadorov was a member of the Flames blue line 2 springs ago when the Oilers dispatched Calgary in the Battle of Alberta playoff edition in 5 games. Thatcher Demko out. Lower body, maybe a knee. Noah Juleson, Mark Friedman, Nils Amon are the scratches. Starting goalies tonight for the Edmonton Oilers, 25-year-old Stuart Skinner, 4-1 record this postseason. .259 GAA, .910 save percentage, 1 shutout in those 5 playoff games. Lifetime in the postseason, Skinner a 9-7 record, .332 goals against average, .891 save percentage with the shutout, 17 playoff games under his belt. And then at the other end of the rink, he has been a bit of a revelation for the Vancouver Canucks of late. It is 23-year-old Arturs Shilovs, 2-1 with a 170 GAA, .938 save percentage with a shutout in 3 playoff games. He will face Edmonton for the first time in his career tonight. In his career. All right, we do have Irf. He's ready to rock. So I will say this, portions of this hour brought to you by 100.3 The Bear, Edmonton's best rock. Catch Dusty Nielsen with Yukon Jack and Scott McCord weekday mornings, and then tune it to Jess Jackson on your way home every day after work. And I had the good fortune of being on with Jess to tee up tonight's matchup earlier today. Always a pleasure to be on the air with Jess Jackson. Text us, 780-218-9999, or get into the nasty chat. And question of the night, one more time. It's been a week between games. Will it be rest or rust for the Oilers tonight? Let's get to our good buddy, Irf Gaffar, Canucks reporter. You've seen him on Sportsnet. Doing work with, was it you with Jeff Patterson now? You're everywhere. Your fourth period, Canucks Army. Irf, you're just all over it, pal. You're a man about the town in Vancouver. That's your city.
Used to be. Well, good to see you.
It still
buddy.
is.
Tell me, you look good. I have to say, you do look good.
It's makeup and lighting, Irf. 2 lights.
I mean, one of the things, there's a giant light right here that I'm staring into. So one of the things that I did learn about being in television for so long is lighting can change a lot of things.
Oh, it does. You look fantastic, too, by the way. I just have to say. So good to see you. So what do you think? Rest or rust for the Oilers? It's been the Canucks have had a few days off, too, but not as many as Edmonton, obviously. What do you think, Irf?
Well, I think at this time of the year, the most important thing that everyone talks about is rest, right? And I think from your side and the way that you look at it with the Edmonton Oilers, lots of time to practice, lots of time to work on things, but with the power play as potent as theirs is, and the PK that's operating is the way that it is for them, you almost feel like if you probably talk to some of the guys, they would have said they'd like to start this series a little earlier. Maybe the couple extra days wasn't too much, but look, I think to be completely honest, Tommy, you look at this team and the aspirations that it had, the Edmonton Oilers, from the beginning of the season, it was Cup final. You know, a lot of people picked this team to make it to the Stanley Cup final, and the Vancouver Canucks are just another test in front of them. So they should be ready to go. I don't expect there to be too much rust. I expect there to be a feeling out process in the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the game. But beyond that, I mean, it's the reason why these guys play the games is to get to these situations.
Yeah, that's a good point. Irf, how about the Canucks in that first round series against Nashville? It was tight. Vancouver with some miracle wins in Music City. How would you sum up what we saw over the last couple of weeks against the Nashville Predators from a Vancouver Canucks standpoint?
I mean, it wasn't pretty, as Rick Tocchet said today, but they got the job done. I mean, their attention to detail and team defense is bar none. I mean, they definitely do pay attention there. And, you know, Brock Besser scoring the hat trick, the comeback win to seal the victory and get the hell out of Nashville in that game 4, right, and be able to come back. But they weren't able to close it out at home. So that was an interesting situation there. I mean, look, it's Artur Shilov's team right now. I don't think that Thatcher Demko is coming back at all in this series. I know that there's been some reports saying that it's potential for game 5 or 6 or 7. There would have to be something catastrophic that would have to happen for Shilovs to go down and then DeSmith to go down for Thatcher Demko to appear in this series. I'm just saying, unless it's 3-0, 3-1, 3-2, and you want to get your guy in, but even then, are you really going to go to a guy that is probably not going to practice much with his team, never mind taking a shot? So beyond that, the Canucks are going to need some guys to step up. Big Elias Pettersson, who might appear in the playoffs. He might not. I think everyone here in Vancouver is kind of waiting for that, but it's going to be a physical matchup. I mean, the Nashville Predators, they wore Quinn Hughes down. And I expect the Edmonton Oilers and their forecheck and guys like Corey Perry, guys like Evander Kane, even Leon Draisaitl likes to lay the body a little bit. Are gonna implement that and kind of make life miserable for the Canucks' best player.
Or if you brought up a couple of things that I definitely want to hit on. Yes, Pettersson. Yes, Shilovs. I guess let's start with Shilovs because he's 3 games in the postseason. He's been pretty damn good. That's for sure. One of those games, a shutout. Some tight games, obviously, like you mentioned, against the Preds. But this is a guy who's played 12 games in the NHL total. Like, how far can they go with this guy? What have you seen? What do you know about him? How composed is he? It's one thing to go against a great line with O'Reilly, Nyquist, and Forsberg, but then 3 kind of third lines as opposed to Edmonton, who've got McDavid on one line, Draisaitl on another line. Oh, by the way, a 50-goal scorer in Hyman. Oh, by the way, a guy that's a thorn in everybody's side in Evander Kane, who's from Vancouver. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins had 100 points last year. They've got Warren Foegele for crying out loud on the 4th line. He had 20 this year, Irf. How would you sum up Artur Shilovs going into this moment?
I think for him, you go back to last year at the World Championships, right? When he played for Latvia. He was the MVP of the tournament. He got his country its first ever medal. So that's where your confidence begins, right? And then you have the summer, and then you get into your training, and then you go into the season with the Abbotsford Canucks, and you play pretty well, right? You don't think that you're going to be called up. Probably not. You think Demko's the guy, and you think it's going to be DeSmith all the way through. DeSmith plays well in the beginning of the season. Things were going really, really good for that duo. There's a lot of talk about them winning the Jennings and things like that. Demko goes down. DeSmith not looking so good. Then they have to bring up Shilovs, and yes, he got, he gets that experience of playing these games and playing in big games. But I think for him, it's calm, cool, and collected, man. I think that when you look at it, he's 23. He doesn't know any different. These are just games to him. Yes, it's playoffs. Yes, the magnitude is a lot higher. It's an all-Canadian matchup, hockey night in Canada, everything, all the bells and whistles, one anthem, whatever. It's going to be a lot. But I think for him, the one of his best qualities is nothing really phases him. And it's kind of shown that. He doesn't give up bad goals. He doesn't get rattled, when when the puck's on him. He doesn't really give up bad rebounds. He can play the puck behind the net. So there's a lot of good things to like about him. But you're right. All the things you just mentioned before that, the Evander Kane, the thorn in your side, Warren Foegele, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and obviously 29 and 97 and the things that they can do for the Edmonton Oilers. It's going to be a tough task, not just for him because he's a last line of defense, but for their team in total.
Gaffar with us, Canucks reporter, as we get set for game 1, finally, between the Oilers and the Canucks. First time in 32 years. 32 years, Irf. We were just little guys back then when these two teams played. I was saying the last Oilers win in Vancouver was May 3rd, 1992, 4-3 in overtime, and Joe Murphy scored the winner. Vincent Damphousse and Bernie Nichols also had goals for Edmonton. And I think it was Jeff Courtnall, and it was also Pavel Bure, and one other classic Canuck had the goals for Vancouver. And I was just
I was 4.
Oh, yeah, I was 5.5 or 6, man. we were just little fresh babies.
Yeah, who would have thought all these years later, Tommy, me and you would be here talking about a playoff series between these two teams?
Meant to be. Meant to be, Irf. Meant to be. Okay, let's talk about Elias Pettersson. 3 assists through the games he played. I think he's at, -2 or -3. Let me double check here. I want to get it right. -2 in the 6 games that he's played. Give us the down low on Pettersson.
Okay, well, here's my thing. He's in over 80 points this year. And look, I know this market, especially here in Vancouver, he's the whipping boy right now. And it's crazy because he's a guy that, is a cornerstone of this franchise, a guy that just got over $90 million given to him, So I think from a Canucks standpoint, like if you really look at it and you've really been following this team, he hasn't been good since the All-Star break, right? And then the contract negotiation stuff came about. Like the last 2 teams he scored against, I believe it's the Buffalo Sabres and the Arizona Coyotes. One of those teams doesn't even exist anymore.
Ouch.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So I just think that for him, it's getting involved. It's feeling the game. We had Trevor Linden on a couple days ago. It was a fantastic interview. Obviously, he was part of the organization when they drafted him, and he said he's not in the fight. And it's true. He's not. I know he likes throwing the reverse hits. I know Rick Tocchet basically said today that, the media is maybe reaching for something. He's not hurt. He just has an illness. They said maybe it's his wrist or his back. Nothing's bothering him. Well, the thing that's bothering him the most is playing hockey right now is what it looks like, to be completely honest. He's not making passes. He's not shooting the puck. I think that's where the angst in the fan base is because he's just not doing things everyone's so used to. But from my perspective, from people that have followed this team for a long time, it's been there since the All-Star break. So I don't know if there's a magic button that's going to be pressed and all of a sudden he's going to turn it on in round 2. But for the Canucks' sake and the organization's sake, I think they hope that he finds it.
Well, you know what's interesting, Irf, is there's some discussion around here, not from everybody, but we've had so much time to chew on this series that people think that maybe the Oilers are the thing that unlocks Pettersson's offense. Like, he's played against Edmonton pretty good over the course of his career. He's put up some numbers. So that's something that people around here can get leery of, and I understand it. Like, Pettersson, over the course of his career, has played against Edmonton 22 times, 19 points, pretty good numbers, +5. So 6 goals in that span as well. That's something that people are leery of. I don't know if you're aware of it, but there are those that are like, well, maybe Pettersson wakes up against Edmonton.
Well, here's one of the things that I hate talking about the most, Tommy. It's the bubble. I mean, we had a great time there in Edmonton for the month, but the Vancouver Canucks did as well, right? So Elias Pettersson was good for the Vancouver Canucks in that series, in those playoffs, as was Thatcher Demko. So who knows? Maybe going back to Edmonton, maybe it's something in the playoffs. Maybe there's 20,000 screaming drunk Oiler fans are going to be yelling up all sorts of weird stuff that Elias Pettersson is going to get him in the mood, but I don't know. We just haven't seen enough from him. I mean, I know he was in on that game-winning goal for the Vancouver Canucks with P.S. Suter to clinch the series against the Nashville Predators. But beyond that, it's been tough and it's been hard to watch because you want him to do well. I think, the Vancouver Canucks do. I mean, the Edmonton Oilers fans obviously don't. They don't care, right, if he plays good or not. But to be completely honest, you put the 4-0 for the Vancouver Canucks completely out the window. I agree with Leon Draisaitl. These are 2 completely different teams. And Elias Pettersson was good 3 of those games this season, right? So I think that when you go and look at it now, it's a whole new ballgame.
Gaffar joining us now, Canucks reporters. We get you set for game 1 here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show, live on location, Hudson's Bourbon Street at West Edmonton Mall, Irf's third favorite place in Edmonton. You know the city quite well.
Yeah, I do. Spent a lot of time there.
We'll let people guess and speculate on those first 2 places. But come on down. It's the EST watch party. Lieutenant Eric is already here and a bunch of AM Nasties joining. I've got some GCs to give away. Irf, I would give you a 50 and you wouldn't even have to show me your shoulder, buddy. There's a joke going around that I only give the 20s and 50s out to pretty girls and ladies, but I like to distribute evenly among everybody.
I was always told, Tommy, with great power comes great responsibility. And
thank you. I do feel like Spider-Man at times.
Yes, you definitely do.
Okay, speaking of being a man among the people, as you are, what's up with the Canucks fans and them being very excited to face Conor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Zach Hyman, and the Edmonton Oilers? Because there were some interesting videos. And I don't know if you've seen the music videos that our Edmonton Oilers fans have been creating in our fine city. Like a opera pop version of La Bamba that we didn't know we needed, but we got it. Some new raps that have come out. There's been some Canucks raps as well. Give us the sense of what's going on in and around Canucks faithful, because the swearing is not nice, but it happens.
The swearing is not nice. It does happen. I get it. I get why everyone's all pissed off about it. But let me say this: both the raps from both cities are crap.
Yes,
to be completely honest, both cities are so on the edge of their seats that they're trigger happy on their phones. Both markets.
Yes.
Trust me, I've covered hockey in both markets. So, and it's wild. Look, the Vancouver Canucks haven't had a playoff home game before these playoffs started since 2015. This is a different generation of Canuck fans, to be completely honest. The Edmonton Oilers, all they've had is misery in the recent memory, right? You get to the conference final, but you don't do it. Your time with Conor McDavid, his contract's going to expire at some point. What's going to happen if you don't make it to a Stanley Cup final? So,
hey, I want people to like you in our city. Stop it. I'm just kidding.
They already do. Don't worry. I'm going to get lumped in with the kid that was screaming and swearing. Don't you worry. I already know what's coming. But I think that, when you look at it from both standpoints, it's all fun and games until you say something stupid. Right. And there's been a lot of stupid stuff on the internet right now. So, look, I have fun, enjoy it. Get at people, the Drake and Kendrick Lamar beefs and all that. Be like that, But some of the stuff that's out there is absolutely crazy. And the worst part, Tommy? I don't even think we've seen the worst part yet. I
feel like you're right.
I'm 100% right.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. How about this one? We got a text out of Calgary, of all places, Irf, that says, Canucks fans bragging about their goalie playing so good at the Worlds. That would be impressive if it was the Olympics, but the Worlds don't get the best players. And then this texter also adds the towers of pylons on Vancouver's D. So there's the chirp starting to fly. They've already been flying, but now on our show as we get going, let's talk about that Canucks defense, because they have some big boys back there. And they also have Quinn Hughes, arguably the best defenseman in the league, especially this season back there. Give us a sense of the back end from Vancouver and how healthy is Quinn Hughes, who, you mentioned had been taking a beating so far this postseason.
Well, there's no question that he's battling something right now. I think it's pretty evident. There were shots of him doubled over on the bench, and he took some big hits from a big physical heavy team. Beyond that, you've got big rangy defensemen, right? Tyler Myers, Carson Soucy, Nikita Zadorov, who obviously the Edmonton faithful know pretty well.
Yep.
For them, I think it's what Rick Tocchet said earlier on in the season. Just don't take stupid stick penalties and you'll be fine. But the Edmonton Oilers' speed might cause you to do that. Like I was joking with Jeff Patterson. We were texting back and forth. I go, how many penalties are those three? How many tripping penalties are those three going to take in the series? I'm putting it at over 4.5 or the number 4.5. And I'd take the over, right? It's just based on Edmonton's speed alone. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Evander Kane's a fast skater. Nuge can still fly. Like they've got guys that can move on that team, including Zach Hyman. So the Canucks, it's pay attention to detail, right? It's do what you've been doing well. Stay structured. If they score first, they're going to dumb the game right down because that's the way that they like to play and force Edmonton to play a different brand of hockey. And obviously in Vancouver, you got the advantage with the change. Rick Tocchet's going to get his matchups in and things like that. So from a Canucks perspective, I think that you just go and you worry about it in that sense. But I like that fan chirping about the towers of defense and the Canucks. I mean, beyond the top pair and maybe Darnell Nurse, that's a pretty vulnerable blue line for the Edmonton Oilers, if I do have to say so myself.
How dare you besmirch Brett Kulak like that?
I mean, how dare you? I call it how I see it, to be completely honest. Until you've done it, you haven't done it. And nobody in both teams has done it, right? Unless your name's Ian Cole. And to be fair, Ian Cole's got the most PK minutes of anyone in the National Hockey League right now, and he's playing very well for the Canucks. But neither here nor there. The interesting one is Elias Lindholm, too, for me, right? Is that the matchup that Rick Tocchet's going to like against Conor McDavid, or is it going to be JT Miller?
What do you think happens there?
I think it's going to start with Miller, but I wouldn't shock me at all if it ends up being Elias Lindholm, right? Elias Lindholm's probably talking to guys that have played against Conor McDavid in the past, guys like William Karlsson in Vegas, having those types of conversations and asking questions and kind of seeing what do you force him to do to make him not be as successful as he's going to be, because Conor McDavid's going to get his. He's too good not to. Right. And he's obviously going to be more pissed off because the NHLPA players didn't vote for him in the Ted Lindsay Award. So there's that too.
What a slight.
Yes.
What a slight.
His own peers hate him. Watch him have 12 points in this series.
He did that to the Kings in 5. So he's on another plane right now. Okay. Overall in this series, I'm worried from an Oilers standpoint. I look at, JT Miller, and I think he's going to be a beast. Like, he looks like a gamer and a guy that shows up in big money moments, and he's an asshole on the ice, Irf, and I love that, especially in the playoffs. So that's kind of like my X-Factor player from a Canucks standpoint. Who do you think could be X-Factor players from a Vancouver standpoint as well?
Well, you hope it's Dakota Joshua, right? After game one, you hope he shows up. Everyone was willing to give him all the money after that game one performance. Like they were willing to give him $4 million, say pay the man, do whatever. And then he tailed off. So it needs to be him. It needs to be a 24 goal scorer in Niels Höglander, who scored all his goals at 5-on-5 this season. It needs to be guys like Connor Garland. It needs to be those guys that can get in low, play like pit bulls, make life miserable for the Edmonton Oilers defense. But you didn't really see that too much in the first round series. So you hope that there's going to be that. And then for me, again, like until Elias Pettersson does something, you have to put his name in there because the potential for him to explode is there. I haven't seen it. I don't know if it's going to come. I hope Canuck fans, I'm sure that they want to see it as well. No other fans probably don't, but those are probably my guys. Quinn Hughes is going to do Quinn Hughes things. And JT Miller, like you mentioned, he's an asshole on the ice, and that's just the way that he plays.
I like that kind of hockey, and it's hard to play against, and it's frustrating, but damn, it's effective. Okay, Irf, what do you think about this series? How long does it go? Who gets the better of who? Just let me know what your feel is going into this thing.
I was getting chirped from people from Calgary that were texting into your thing saying that, oh, Vancouver this and Vancouver that. Look, I think the Oilers are going to win in 6. I think that, this team is just built a lot differently. I think that the mindset of the team. I'm not saying the Canucks mindset isn't, we're done and that's it. We got through the first round. Like we believe we can win. We're here for a reason. I think they think that they can compete, which they obviously can. But for the Oilers, you have to get through the Canucks. Like Vancouver wins game 1. How much pressure is it on the Oilers now? Right? Like, you're supposed to go there. The Vancouver Canucks are such a heavy underdog. They won the division, Tommy. They had 50 wins. Yeah. And they're plus 225 to win this series. Come on. Like, I guess it's to McDavid, it's to Draisaitl and things like that. So they have no problem being the underdog. And having said all that, I'm still going to take the Oilers in 6.
You know what, Irf? You just got yourself free drinks the next time you come to town and probably a free steak dinner. Free drinks as long as you're here for saying that. Vancouver guy, Canucks reporter, picking the Oilers at 6. People love you now.
Well, I mean, I'm not really anything crazy. 25 out of 26 ESPN panelists picked the Oilers, so not really making any bold predictions there.
Well, you're endearing yourself, and we respect the hell out of that. Irf, this was fantastic. Maybe we get to do it again a few times. I'll call you.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, homie. You have my number.
I do. Fantastic stuff, my friend. Enjoy the game, and we'll catch up with you pretty soon here. Irf Gaffar, great stuff. We're going to have him on, I hope, if he's cool with it, a couple of times on the pregame show, setting up these games, this series. Follow him, Irf Gaffar, on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. He's been doing the rink-wide show with Jeff Patterson, who's been a long time broadcaster in Vancouver covering the Canucks as well. And Irf's been doing some Canucks Army stuff. I think Irf is going to be doing some more fourth period. Him and Pagnotta pretty tight and might link up again. And we've seen Irf doing fourth period for the last few years as well. And you probably recognize Irf as well from his time on Sportsnet. All right, keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. And then on the nasty chat, Fat Dan says, whoa, get a load of this guy doing a drive-by on Kulak. Right, Fat Dan? Displaced Yukoner says, Oilers in 5. And then Maple Jed says, LFG, about time we're getting around to round number 2. I'm looking for McLeod to step out of his shell, use his speed to get in on Quinn, Hughes, and lay the body all series. Quinn's size should give him courage. Should be a fun series. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999, and of course via the nasty chat as we're getting you set for game number 1. Question of the night one more time. It's been a week between games. Will it be rest or rust tonight for the Oilers? Let us know and I will read those out. All right, let's get to Matty Kassian. He's ready to rock. As it's been a little while. Cass, how you doing, man?
It's been 84 years.
84 years. I was actually thinking about that quote today.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute, Tommy, but I'm ready to get out of here. Like it feels like this one just drug out this break that we had, and all of a sudden it was like there's less teams playing, so there's less games in the evening, and
it's just like, yeah, it's nice to be back at it.
Beautiful. I know it. I was like, oh yeah, I need to do the pregame lineup and send it to the guys. Haven't done it in forever. 7 days. 7 days. But like getting on a bike, Cass, we are ready to rock. It's been 84 years. Dang. All right, let's get to Game Changers. Brought to you, as always, by Damon Bunting, Remax Elite. Damon Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian Remax realtors. He and his team love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Had a chance to catch up with Damon. He was on the Hangout yesterday with Dean Belanger. Lots of fun there, and Damon's just an absolute beauty. Loves basketball. So, Jasmine, if you're listening, you and Damon, if you haven't talked basketball, Association City, you guys would be two peas in a pod. All right, Cass. When it comes to tonight's Game Changers, number one for you is shake it off.
Shake off that rust. Both teams, a little bit of a break or a lot of a break for both teams, really, where they've been sitting around a little bit, recovering. You know, we could argue who it benefits more or who it benefits less, but really a big part of the start of this game tonight is who's going to be ready to shake off that rust first. It can take time. Now, this wasn't like a 2 to 3 to 4, you know, it's not like it's weeks and weeks and weeks that these teams haven't been playing, but you can see sloppiness coming out of a break. We see it sometimes with Christmas break. We see it sometimes with All-Star break. We see it sometimes if there's an Olympic break. It can take some time to get going again. Now, the adrenaline will be there. The excitement will be there. The motivation is going to be there. But a big part of this game one is going to be, well, who shakes off the rust first? Who comes out of the gate swinging a little bit better? Who is better prepared mentally to execute and execute at the level that they need to be at, Tommy? And the team that does that, you're probably going to get the first one and quite possibly win the hockey game.
Cass, when it comes to shaking it off, like, around the rink the last couple of days, talking to the players, listening to the players, they seemed like they wanted to get going, like almost an irritated sense of let's get this thing going already, and not in a bad way. And I kind of like the business-like approach that they've had. They seem different, more mature than they have in years past, where they were maybe just excited to be there or were caught in the moment. If I'm describing that to you, what's your read on it?
Well, they're a team that's ready to play. I mean, who wants to sit there for weeks on end and not get going in the playoffs? It's like, yeah, you want to keep going. Now, you want to recover. And if guys are banged up, it's like, yeah, having a couple extra days is nice. But, I mean, you want to play. You want to play. The games count. They matter. You want to play. And so it's I don't think just sign of maturity and I don't think they're just content to be here. They're here and they want to win. Yeah, I mean, you've sat around long enough. You've watched other teams start their series, play a couple of games now. You have a team that's playing their second game, a series tonight. So you're just like, yeah, freak. Like, just let me at it. Let's go. Let's go. So they're ready. They're ready for it. They're ready to just start really playing again.
Outside of Evander Kane, who we know is dealing with athletic pubalgia, as I love to say it, the sports hernia. Mm-hmm. There are some Oilers that are nicked up. We know Henrique is a no-go tonight, but there's other guys that have some bumps and bruises, obviously. How much healing can get done in a week from your experiences? Lots.
An extra week of not doing anything, of not having, to put stress on a part of your body that you need to recover. There is a lot of healing that can happen in a week. Now, especially for smaller things, where it's just like, yeah, it's kind of lingers there. Like, for example, you take a puck off the skate.
Right.
And it's like, okay, it's not a break. You got a bruise. It hurts every time you put your skate on. Maybe hurts a little bit every time you put pressure on it and you push down on that foot, but you're going to play through it. It's not going to stop you. It's going to be more annoying than anything. But it's going to take longer to get better because it's like, well, every time you're lacing up that skate again and you're having to go through well, now I'm just there. There's contact and you're bumping and you're playing and it doesn't allow you to recover as fast as actually truly resting. So, I'm sure there's people that are smarter than me. They could pull the actual science of it, Tommy, but yeah, you can recover a lot in a week. A week's rest can be huge.
Shake it off. That is number one on Game Changers tonight with Matty Kassian. Number two, Cass, anti-healing Hero, let's hear it. I'm curious about this one.
Well, I figured I'd go because undoubtedly we have some Canuck trolls in the nasty chat. They'll probably be in there en masse post game. I'm assuming maybe not so much before the game, but after the game, they're 100% going to be there, and I'm kind of excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. So from the
all caps yelling from you tonight.
Oh, there's going to be a ton of that.
Regardless of the outcome.
Regardless of the outcome. I promise you there will be lots of all caps. But you bring up the Evander Kane. And I think for the Edmonton Oilers, Evander Kane, Corey Perry, Ryan McLeod, Holloway to an extent as well, they have to be the anti-hero in this series. Again, hero for the Oilers, but anti-hero for the Vancouver Canucks, in that a little bit of the heel turn for some of these guys, and some of them naturally do it. Some of them it's naturally there. But I think even more than the LA Kings series, because to me, the LA Kings, you knew they were going to be a little bit of the physical aggressor. You knew they were going to be the team that's like, we have to just, absolutely run these guys, and we have to be difficult on them, and we have to try to get to them emotionally and mentally. And in this series, I think that's flipped a little bit, where players like Evander Kane just are even more important in getting to a Quinn Hughes, being physical on a Quinn Hughes. I mean, we saw in that Nashville series between Nashville and Vancouver where Quinn Hughes, he took a little bit of a beating. And Nashville was physical on him. And I'm looking at these guys for the Edmonton Oilers going, these are the guys that got to spoil the party for him, Quinn Hughes, and the Vancouver Canucks, where if they can do the same thing, if they can slow him down, if they can make it just an absolute nightmare for him anytime he's touching the puck in his own zone, someone's there, someone's finishing a check on him, not necessarily just to absolutely run him over, but just finishing. I truly believe that that's going to be one of the absolute keys to this series is, the way you're able to physically impact Quinn Hughes and, the guys that I listed off, and in particular, the two most on this who are still going to have a lot of minutes against him in Evander Kane and Corey Perry. They got to be the guys to lead the charge on that, Tommy. But I think you really can make a difference and separate yourself against the Vancouver Canucks if you do that.
The anti-hero. I like that so much. A couple of things pop up in my mind when I was listening to that, Cass, is Quinn Hughes, according to Gaffar, who was on prior to you, was saying he thinks Hughes is dealing with something.
Yep.
So he might be nicked up. So that physical play, like you alluded to, super important. Let's see if the Oilers can connect on a few big hits on Hughes to get him off his game, although he's so good. And then the other thing, too, for a guy like Evander Kane, the anti-hero, which you brought up in point number 2 of Game Changers, what do you think it's like for him going into Van as a member of the Oilers with a chance to move on to the conference final with all those people he knows, some people probably from his hometown who can't stand him because he hasn't made friends with everybody, trust me.
Really?
And then, shocking, I know. And then the other thing, too, is you've got a guy in Ryan Nugent-Hopkins who is very likable. Yep. Just an honest, good, salt of the earth type of guy. Can he be like a anti-hero as well?
Well, if Nuge is going to do it, it's going to be, he's had some success in the power play and offensively. He's not the type of player that's like he's going to grind players down. He's not. He's an honest. He's an honest player. Evander Kane, can he be an anti-hero? 1,000,000%. And probably already is. And it's not like he hasn't. Like he played in Vancouver in junior. He's played in front. I don't think he's going to really care that it's where he's from originally. And maybe a few more people in the fans there. But I think it's going to be a situation where he's going to be able to relish a little bit of being the heel. Sometimes he does. You're probably going to get it even more so being that you're playing in Canada versus playing against LA. People know the history that he has had or reportedly had. It gets reported on more than it's going to in LA. It's going to be a bigger deal. People are going to be talking about that. Media members are going to be talking about it. So I think you have the opportunity to even from a media standpoint and a fan standpoint, maybe play a little bit of that card a little bit more, which hey, I think would be fun. It just is going to feed into what already is going to be a fairly emotional series between two fan bases that are both passionate and care about their hockey.
Hey, one last thing on Kane, and Irf texted me this earlier today, and somebody tweeted it out there. Obviously, we've had way too much time to get ready for this series. There's been multiple music videos made on each side with artists, let's call them. Anna Kane is in Vancouver conveniently. Yeah, I don't like getting into that side of things too much, but this has been an issue earlier this season. It seems to continue to be. Just quickly, your 2 cents on it. I don't know how much you want. I don't want to give it too much fuel, but just your thoughts.
I don't want to at all. I mean, it's listen, there's a legal side to it. I don't know if it's all resolved yet. There's going to be 2 sides. Both sides are going to feel like they are right, and it's just, I think, an unfortunate situation all around. It's just dumb. Like, it's just,
thank you.
It's just dumb. It's just dumb. It's just dumb.
We'll leave it at that. Yeah. Cass, well said. Well said. 780-218-9999. You can text us or get in on the nasty chat as well. It is the GCL Diesel Oil Street pregame show live on location. Hudson's Bourbon Street. Great vibe in here already. Wing night. And $6 house pints as well. We're getting set for the Oilers and the Canucks. Cass with Game Changers. Number 1 was Shake It Off. Number 2, Anti-Hero. Number 3, Cass. All you had to do was save.
I don't know if you got that, Tommy, but there's a little Swiftie reference in each of those. Which,
I'm not a Swiftie, but okay. Did I not say it in the right cadence?
I don't know. You didn't say it like the song.
Say it. Do it.
No,
you do it right.
No.
Give it justice.
I refuse. Fine. I decline. I'm not a Swiftie either. I'm not either. But, how can we, and I know you've talked about it a little bit already, but how can we go into this and not look at the Vancouver Canucks goaltending and say that this is a significant, serious issue or potential issue, or maybe potential non-issue, and we're reading into it way too much. But Arturs Silvos, we're still trying to figure out how to say it properly all the time.
I believe Shelovs.
Yeah,
it's that SH that comes from Latvia.
Yeah, all the crazy stuff that they do, the crazy Latvians. But he comes in and plays pretty well in that Nashville series. Kind of doesn't, I don't want to say he doesn't realize the gravity of the situation, because I think he realizes the gravity of the situation, but kind of just thrown in and be like, here you go play in a playoff series. You've never played in the NHL before. And it's like, oh, okay. And, you kind of roll with it. And now probably has a little time to sit and think. Now he's sitting there watching the preparation for a couple of days before playing the Oilers, watching the power play, watching Leon bury goals in the back door, watching what kind of opportunities, where the puck is generally coming from. And I wonder if mentally he starts to feel it a little bit more from a pressure standpoint, where before it was like, well, there's really no pressure because you were the third string guy and you just got thrown in there. And it's like, well, just give us something. And he did. Now you got through a series and it's like, okay, now the expectation I think is going to go up a little bit. You still don't have a real definite timeline for your other goalies coming back here. And for the Edmonton Oilers, you have to capitalize on this, especially early in the series, to say you have a young goaltender that is untested largely in the NHL and in the playoffs, and take it to them. Is this a situation where if you started to run up a couple goals in a game, is Sheilov going to crack? Is he going to break? Is he going to mentally be able to hang in there and stay with it? Or is he not? But it's, I think, an interesting situation. I think this series is with Thatcher Demko, a healthy Thatcher Demko. He can steal 1 to 2 to 3 games in a series, right? Like if he plays really well, you could have a good series and lose because Thatcher Demko steals it for you. Not the case right now, because even if he does come back, he's injured. But, for the Vancouver Canucks and, on the flip side for the Edmonton Oilers with Stuart Skinner, I think goaltending is going to be a large factor in what's going to be a much more offensive series than both the Nashville, Vancouver, and Edmonton, LA series were in round 1.
Listen, Shelovs has earned this start to kick off the series. Yep. He played well in those 3 games, but if it goes sideways, if I were to suggest the leash is probably relatively short for Shilovs and they look at DeSmith if Thatcher Demko's not ready to go, would that be pretty straightforward and agreed upon?
Absolutely. But, how healthy is DeSmith? He's healthy enough to back up, but is he at 100% too? So again, like there's real questions that have to be answered back there. And obviously for the Vancouver Canucks, you just hope that Shilov is you can't, that's just he messes with
Shilovs.
Yeah. You just hope that Shilov that he is if you're the Vancouver Canucks that he's just good and steady through all of it. But we will have to see. I would assume that if DeSmith is healthy, that leash is going to be real short. If it's not, like if he's not healthy, you don't really have any other choice still.
Yeah, that's very true. Shilovs has never faced the Edmonton Oilers in his pro career. 780-218-9999. Tom Gazzola, Matt Kassian with you. YouTube Trev holding things down back at EST HQ. We're live on location. Hudson's Bourbon Street. It's an EST watch party. The boys are starting to roll in. There's Jeff, bartender Jeff. He is done for the night, put in a shift. Fergie's prostate has arrived, and Alwanick has just walked in. Wow. So it's getting busy, Cass. We got to get you back out here for one when you get a chance to as well. Okay, I want to read a couple texts, Cass, get your thoughts on them. 780-218-9999 or via the nasty chat. Let's go to Andy Pandy in the inbox. Says, I think this will be a long, drawn-out series, guys. Oilers win in 7. They'll split in Van, and Edmonton will split 5 and 6. Oilers win it in Vancouver to move on. I think the Oilers will have problems getting through Vancouver's back 6. They didn't give much at all away against the Preds. Oilers have to come out and play well tonight, or psychologically, with losing 4 in the regular season and being beaten tonight, it may turn this into a mental thing than anything else. McDavid will be the player of the series. Both goalies will be fantastic. Oilers to win 4-3 in OT tonight. Hyman with the winner. That's from Andy Pandy, but he brings up the mental factor, and we've heard Leon Draisaitl, Conor McDavid really hammer home that they don't think that any of this matters when it comes to the season sweep that the Oilers took at the hands of the Canucks. What do you say?
It doesn't. It really doesn't. Primarily those games early in the season when they were a completely different team. Number one. Number two, just look what happened with the Winnipeg, Colorado series. It just doesn't matter. Can it have small effects? Yes. Can it help someone feel confident a little bit? Yeah. You can have success against a team. You understand you can have success against them, but is it going to be the story and the driving factor, particularly when it was like, no, you caught a team in a horrible slump early on and beat the snot out of them? It's not. Now, over the course of this series, will the mental game be important in this one? Yes, absolutely. This could be a series that goes 6 or 7 games. Now, I have as well the Oilers in 6, but Vancouver is a good hockey team. If Pettersson can light a spark and come alive and start producing some offense, I think it starts to close the gap a little bit because he's such a dangerous player. If JT Miller can play his game and have some success, it's going to be challenging in a lot of ways for Edmonton. I think their defense have their work cut out for them with the pressure that the Vancouver Canucks are going to bring. So the mental game, because I think there's going to be big swings in this one. I don't think you're winning this one in 5, or it's like, against LA, you had the one game that was really, really bad. And then everything else was, for the most part, pretty good. You had little moments, but it was pretty good. This series could see a few more momentum swings just with the offensive capacity and output of the Vancouver Canucks, and therefore it just going to be more taxing mentally, I think, than that series number 1.
Stylistically, Cass, I mean, we knew what we were going to get in round 1 against the LA Kings, and Edmonton busted through that 1-3-1. We were talking about it game 1 in the press box. Then obviously we followed it up game to game throughout the series. How is this one going to differ? Is it going to be wide open? Do you think they're going to start out tight? Do you think one of these teams switches their style of play? And I know you and even Belzy have said, no. And actually Gager too. It is so hard to switch on the fly in a series, the way you play and the style you play and the system you play. But stylistically, what kind of hockey do you think we're going to get in this series between the Oilers and Canucks?
Yeah, well, it's going to be fast-paced. 2 teams that like to go on offense, 2 teams that like to play in the offensive zone. Vancouver fairly aggressive on the forecheck. Now Tocchet likes them playing that style. It is straight line hockey. There's not a lot of east-west. So they when they get the puck defensively, they like to get going. They like to push the pace, try to force the defenseman back, create some space through the neutral zone. They do have some players that can create off the rush, which is where they burned Edmonton earlier in the season, and where Edmonton, especially earlier in the season, they really struggled. They absolutely got lit up with rush chances against, and Vancouver does like to create there. So they are going to try to play fast, but they do also try to play disciplined. I mean, that's Rick Tocchet. Play fast, play in straight lines, play disciplined, and then you can be creative in the offensive zone. I don't think he tries to stifle anybody in there, but when they don't have the puck, it's very aggressive, very much straight line. Now Edmonton, not necessarily as aggressive on the forecheck, but when they're at their best, it is when they are playing fast, when they are taking away time and space, like when they're more aggressive to try to force turnovers, to take away pucks. That's when they're at their best. So,
right.
I don't think necessarily they rely on the structure as much as Vancouver does, but they also try to forecheck hard and play fast in the neutral zone. So you have two teams that I would say like both playing an up-tempo game. Not going to see the 1-3-1. There's not going to be a lot of sitting back, trying to slow down. Yeah, thank goodness to that. So the potential, Tommy, to have a series that's actually got some more offense in it is there. It is there. Now, no team or neither of the teams, they're not going to dramatically change their systems. Belzy said it. I said it in a little hockey. I say it. You said it. Everyone would say that in that locker room too. Now, are you going to look at it and say they might try to reduce some of their risk in the offensive zone, particularly when McDavid's on the ice? That might be something that they do. And for Edmonton, it's players like Leon Draisaitl playing more playoff style hockey to say, okay, I am going to take a little bit of that risk out of my game, just because we don't have another 20 games after this to make up for it if something goes sideways. So you'll still see, I think, a fast paced series, Tommy, and hopefully a pretty fun one.
I love goals, Cass. I love goals. Let's see some fast-paced playoff hockey with lots of goals, and maybe we'll get some great saves as well. Buddy, you are on fire. You've been pent up waiting for this for a week, just like me. Great stuff on Game Changers, and I will talk to you on the postgame.
Absolutely, buddy. Look forward to it. We'll see you soon.
That is Matty Kassian, our game analyst with Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting, Remax Elite. Looking to buy or sell your home? Get in touch with Damon. Visit him at damonbunting.com or check out his Instagram, Damon Bunting Real Estate. He'll get you going and on your way. Great dude. Happy to have him on as a partner. One of the first at EST, as we have now reached, 8 months on the air, Trev?
Yeah.
Are we at 9 months on the air?
8 months, going on 9, yeah.
Wow.
Pretty crazy.
It is, it's been a year. We'll say that. It's been quite the year. And then this last 8-9 months, lots of fun. We've learned things together. We've had some laughs. We've had some cries. It's been great. Some new viewers and listeners, which is great. And then a lot of people coming over from 1260, and we couldn't thank you enough. But we're closing in on the 1-year anniversary of when the old station went down, and still it's bittersweet to hear people's stories about that day when they were listening and I was filling in for Dusty, but it also is a reminder of the situation that it put us into to create this station that we feel we can stand behind and be very, very proud of. So what a time to be alive. We've got you now. You're our guy. We've got Zach to come, who's a full-time staff member now. We've got Belzy and Gager and Cass, who are huge parts of our station. Murray McCourt has become a bigger presence on our station as opposed to just a weekend guy back at 1260. It's been fantastic. Dude.
It really has. And, just want to shed some light on, you said just hearing some of the stories from some people that would come up to you, the day that 1260 did get shut down and whatnot, but no word of a lie, man. I still remember this very it's a vivid memory. It's a core memory because I was blown away how much you guys meant to certain people in Edmonton. And as soon as I found out the news, I sent Dusty a text. I'm like, sorry to hear this. And my job then was I was bartending at a Boston Pizza. So I go into BP's, and it was late at night, man. Like, one guy just strolls on in, and he's sad. Like, you can just tell he's just in one. And I'm like, how's it going, man? Like, well, what can I do you for? What can I grab you? And he's just like, man, today's like the toughest day of my life. I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, 1260 got shut down. And I'm like, and he was literally like in tears, man. He's like, you probably don't. I'm like, yeah, I know 1260 for sure. He's like, I don't know what to do, man. Like, my life is, I'm lost. And so that moment there, I was like, wow, like, that's like, it's just impressive. It's crazy. We have, the Nasties are just so loyal, right? And it's really crazy. But yeah, that stuck with me, man. I was like, damn, it was crazy.
You know what? It brought you to us, Travis, and we love you.
Yeah, that's right. That's so good.
That's a story in itself. Trev was on that night at BP when we were doing Oil Stream as a podcast before we turned it into a full-length show when we created EST. And you came by and said hi. We chatted with you, and we checked out your YouTube channel and your show. And we're like, you know what? That guy has... We got to keep his contact info. And sure enough, and I called you Travis on the show that day.
You did. You got everyone's name right except me, and I was the only one that came and talked to you.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's whatever.
I know. But now here we are. Look at us, YouTube Trev. YTT.
And 8,000 subs today as well. So shout out to all the Nasties.
Amazing.
Pretty cool for sure. Maddie didn't want us to celebrate it too much, so we're keeping it on the DL, but it's still a
polite golf clap.
Yeah, one of those.
Round of clicks. There you go. Okay, keep those texts coming in. 780-218-9999. It is the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show live on location. Hudson's, Bourbon Street. Watch party tonight. Great vibe already. Wing Wednesday, you could get $6 house pints as well. You don't need to pay, $12 to $14 for a beer down in a crowded, basically, parking lot. So come on down, hang out. We're all going to be here. Dusty's going to get here right around puck drop. He is at Marshall's baseball right now, but Lieutenant Eric's here. Matthew Wannick's already here, and Zach to come as well. Lucas Holt from Whale and the Wolf. Eric's brother, and then I see Jay, Andrea, Fergie's prostate. The Wolf is here. Christopher Boyle is here. He is a partner on the post-game show. Chris Boyle, I'll say hello to him. Who else is here? That popped in? A lot of people have been showing up. Rip City Step. Corey B is here. So a good turnout so far, and it's only going to get better and better. I should mention to GCL Diesel, specializing in giving your diesel engine's heart a second wind. We test and remanufacture fuel injectors, pumps, and turbos for a wide range of applications, breathing new life into vital components. And Trev, I should do one other thing, too, before we go into the Oilers and Canucks locker rooms. I should mention that the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, which is happening down at Kinsman Park in the summer, we do have VIP tables to give away for each night. And we're doing the first night on our shows Monday through Friday, as well as Hello Hockey. And it's a text your way in type of thing. We're not going to be calling you like we did with the Vegas giveaway, but just want to remind everybody about that. The VIP tables have been sold out. A great lineup: Kevin Hart, Bert Kreischer, Andrew Schultz, and Whitney Cummings, Shane Gillis. Like, there's some great headliners. Is it Francois Gagnon or Matthew Gagnon as well? Mark Gagnon, pardon me. And so it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Look at you. Come say hi to the people. Squeeze in here. Put this on. Put this on for 2 seconds. Just, you keep looking at me. You're tempting me. So get on here. There you go. Look at this. Look at this.
Look at this. Look at that.
What do you think?
What's going on? Yeah, this is good. I'm wing night down here at Hudson's. The pints are going smooth, and I haven't had any wings yet. I got to go make a purchase.
You need to eat something?
Yeah, I got to eat, and I got to...
Oh.
Fergie's prostate is here. Jason the Acadian, Andrea, and VR Montenegro, and his wife Ginger.
Yes, that's
Birthday
right.
boy, Rip City Step.
Yes.
Zachary brought a friend.
Yes, Zacticum brought a friend.
This is like romper room. Everybody's here. This is great. All the tables, like, He'll be standing. This is going to be awesome. We're going to have a great night.
You know what's awesome? The fact that you came and said hello to everybody. Lieutenant Eric, look at this. Look at that. Look at this.
I won't keep you.
All right. Well, you go get what you're
doing a good job. I'm not professional.
You're not even listening. You liar. There's Lieutenant Eric. Nice cameo from him. Great to have him on. All right. Let's go inside the locker room. Trev, who are we going to hear from first?
Yeah, man. There's so many to choose from. You know what? Let's start with the captain. It's been a week since I've heard from him, since some of the nasties have heard from him. So, this is Conor McDavid ahead of tonight's game.
To review some video on the Vancouver Canucks for over an extended period of time, what are some of the areas of growth in their defensive game in round one that maybe pose a challenge for you guys beginning tonight?
Yeah, well, obviously they're a great team. Really good team that defends really well, as you said. They do a great job of collapsing on their net. They got big D-men that don't leave the net. They don't go too far from their own net, and they make it tough to get on the inside.
How was the week? Did it feel longer than? What kind of kept you busy when you weren't at the rink?
Yeah, a little bit of a strange scenario with a week in between games, but we had a good week of practice. Yeah, guys are rested, ready to go.
Rick Tocchet talked about protecting the front of the net, just like you said. How do you kind of open that up when they got guys that, like you said, don't venture far from the net and you guys want to get there?
Well, we got guys who can score from the outside as well, so we can shoot. If they want to collapse around the net, then we can shoot through them, shoot around them. I think our D-men will do a good job of getting pucks through, and we'll find a way to work around that.
It's not often you get to this point of the season and play a goalie you've never seen before. What's the process of pre-scout, or does it matter individual tendencies of the other guy? What do you guys look at?
Yeah, you definitely know what goalies' tendencies are. We pre-scout everything, so that would be something that we look at. But ultimately, they're a good team that play in front of them, and we got to find a way to get to them.
Conor, most of the guys on both sides weren't alive the last time these two teams played in the playoffs. What can a matchup like this do for the rivalry between these two clubs?
Yeah, there's going to be lots of passion from both fan bases. Be lots of energy in both rinks, and that can result in some as you said, a rivalry forming or whatever. We played these guys lots. There's already a little bit there, I would say, just with how much we played them, with the Canadian division and all that. So we know them, they know us. That'll be fun.
We're not positive on Henrique's status, but you've been skating with Jan Mark the last few days. Maybe some thoughts on having a defensive veteran guy in that spot compared to what you've been skating with lately?
I would say, Rico and Yanni are not all that different in their kind of styles of play. I would say, Rico's definitely a more defensive-minded player, and Yanni's the same way, and I like that. They're both great players. Whoever it is, they both can do the job.
Your power play, Conor, we often hear about kind of being like playing Gults. I don't know if it's road hockey, kind of I'm paraphrasing, but there's also structure. I'm not asking for a percentage, but do you start structured and then go to the road hockey, or just sort of feel depending on what the other team is providing defensively?
Yeah, just trying to figure out a way to beat whatever they're doing. Whether that's set plays and more structure, then that's what we do. If it's a little bit more, as you say, road hockey or kind of free play, then that's what we do. I think our power play, like we've said lots, has been doing this a long time. We know what we're doing, and even though it may look chaotic at times, there's usually a method behind it. There's a reason why we're doing things. So, yeah.
Conor, Chris Knoblauch indicated yesterday that Conor Brown could come in today, and could you maybe describe his back half or back third of the season, and kind of how he's grown his game and what maybe he could bring to the lineup?
Yeah, he's a guy that his game was building all year long. Coming back from his significant knee injury, maybe took a little bit longer than I think he would have liked, but I know he's feeling great, and you could see that in the back third of the season. As you said, I thought his game was just getting better and better, and we've talked about depth, and we have depth even in the guys that haven't been playing. Guys that can step in and be, not only do a job but be impactful players, and Brownie's definitely one of those guys.
All right, that was the captain, Conor McDavid, as he gets set to take on the Vancouver Canucks. McDavid, an absolute beast in round number 1. Not necessarily in the goal department, obviously, but loading up on those assists, a goal and 11 assists, 12 points in those 5 games versus the LA Kings, +3 with a couple of penalty minutes as well. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. Let's get to a few texts before we go back into the locker rooms. Let's go to AJ in Montreal, who says, it's my mom's 73rd birthday today. Let's get a big game from Vinny D for her present. I think that's a great thing. If Vinny Desharnais can continue his solid play on the back end. Hontorio Momes chiming in. Hontorio Momes says, Knoblauch specifically said they've got to hit Hughes when asked how to defend him, so I expect some boom booms. Let's go to this one. It says, hey, fellas, listening to the pregame show from Bozeman, Montana. Looking forward to ending up in Denver at the right time to see the Oilers versus the Avs the next round. I had to flee Victoria as all of my friends who are huge Canucks fans were running me out of town after I asked them what the prediction for the series was. Oilers in 4 or Oilers in 5. We'll be streaming the game live tonight in my camper van. Can't wait. That's Jaunty, not in Victoria. Love it. All the way from Bozeman, Montana. Put it on the map, Trev. Put it on the map. Let's go to Timber Woodsman. Says, I'm looking for Perry to have more of an impact in this series. Timber Woodsman, that's a good one. Maybe that's a guy who could be an X factor. Didn't have a great series against the Kings. Bad game 2. But we didn't see a ton of flashes from Perry, and I understand why you'd want to see more from him as well. And then Timber Woodsman also has the pizza oven going in his backyard, something that was discussed today on the Nielsen show. That looks absolutely phenomenal, Timber Woodsman. Maybe a 6 o'clock or lager or 2 with that pizza. Delicious. That's how you watch hockey on a nice spring day. Original Puzar, all right. OP, good to hear from you. Says, I think DeSmith fully ready to go, but they're choosing to play Shelovs. At least that's the intel. Shelovs is effectively number 2 for them right now from OP. Original Puzar. Let's go to Chantel in Calgary. Says, let's go. Shout out to the whole crew and the Nasties. Hello, Chantel. Chantel and the girls that came up from Calgary for the watch party last series. That was a lot of fun. Great time as everybody who's a fan of the Oilers coming in from all over, even Calgary. Sam the Vet says, the day 1260 shut off. I was listening at 7:30, got out of the truck at work. When I got back in at 9:45, there was that stupid message. I was destroyed. I deal with pretty traumatic stuff at work every day, and I'm usually pretty level, but I was so rattled. The girls at work were seriously worried about me and asked if I needed to go home. Sam the Vet. But you know what, man? We look back on that, and we reflect on it together. It was a crappy day, but here we are as we approach the 1-year anniversary. Joel says, on va le calisser un bon. Say it, Tommy. I hope I said that right, Joel. I hope I said that right. And I got a text here that I have to click the link. Oh, from the Vancouver Canucks. The text comes in. Says, look at this, Tommy. Had to use that today. It's from the Canucks, from Fashion Pioneers, Arturs Shelovs, and JT Miller. We bring you the hashtag Canucks Paisley t-shirt, now available at Van Base and Canucks Team Store. I would not buy that. I would definitely not buy that. Not very nice. Not very nice at all. All right, YouTube, Trev. Where to next, pal? I'm glad I looked at that. Not a great option. That's a bad shirt.
I'll have to look.
Did you click on that link?
I will be as soon as I roll the footage here.
That's a crappy T-shirt.
Okay, let me get my thoughts on that.
It's probably $50.
Ah, yikes.
Guaranteed.
Not worth it.
$50.
Not worth it.
Not
in today's
ugly.
In today's economy. I'm just joking.
In this economy.
Yeah. What the heck? But yeah, let's transition to the Oilers bench boss. Here is Chris Knoblauch.
Business part of it done right away. Adam Henrique, Conor Brown. Is Adam out for tonight's game?
Adam is out, and Conor Brown is playing tonight.
Number of days between games, as you know. What sort of sense do you have of the way this team has tried to stay on its toes, make sure that the rust isn't there? I know there's only so much you can do, but what have you kind of seen?
Well, we've had a lot of opportunity to practice, and obviously they touch the puck and pass it around and skate. But I think the one thing you're missing is the intensity, the game, like the system play with being under pressure. And, obviously playing game one in an opposition building like Vancouver, there's going to be a lot of energy. And it'll be important for us to be ready to start right for that first puck drop and not being able to just build a game. We got to be able to start right from the start.
Do you anticipate there being a lot of behind the bench here between you and Tocchet, strategy, line matching, that sort of thing? Do you think this series sets up for a lot of that, or?
No, I have no idea. I'm sure each coach will see things that they like and things that they don't, and have to adjust. And I think maybe there is, just because of the star power, the players that can make an impact in the game on both sides. That maybe that's where you get into a little more of the strategies and trying to counter and take away the opposition's strengths. So possibly there might be.
Canucks have spent a lot of time answering questions about how to deal with Connor and even Leon. For you, how do you deal with a player like Quinn Hughes? During the year, he's had the puck on his stick more than any other player in the league, and you saw Nashville really try to take it to him physically. Is that a sound strategy as you see it?
Obviously, you always want to finish your checks, and especially against the players who have the puck or are good at playing the puck. And if we swing away and we're anticipating where he's making the pass, that's where you get caught. That's where you look silly. And, he has the ability to do that. We got to be in a position where, we do want to finish checks on him, but it's also hard to catch him. He's very shifty. It's hard to get those good players. But I think as a whole, our team wants to be physical against everyone throughout the lineup. But we have to be aware of when he's on the ice, because he can make plays.
Young goaltender for them, 3 playoff games, 9 regular season games. Just what's the approach when you see a guy like that?
Just a player or goalie that's playing well that we have to get to, and no different than any goalie that we're playing. We want to get pucks there, and obviously bodies are very important, especially at this time of the year. And I don't think we have a special strategy. It's certainly something that we're not sharing with everyone today. But he shows that he's playing with a lot of confidence, and we're going to have to be ready to capitalize on our opportunities, because we also know how well Vancouver defends.
Chris, I know you didn't coach all those games against the Canucks, but those 4 games this season, do they have any bearing on preparing for this series?
Yes and no. I think there's some correlation on the season that we have to take notice of. We have to change some things. Obviously, being 0-4 in the series and being outscored as badly as we were, that there are some adjustments that we need to make. Also, we have to look at it as 3 of those games happened at the beginning of the season, first 7-8 games of the year. And the last one came, at the end of the year. But, there's things that we saw that Vancouver did very well and beat us at, and we need to make some small adjustments to kind of minimize their strengths.
Chris, just over here.
All right, that was Chris Knoblauch. He went on for like another 7 minutes, so we'll duck out of that. He's a very excited Lieutenant. Get out of here. He's already having a good time. It is absolutely packed here at Hudson's, Bourbon Street. People get very excited. not going to surprise anybody out there, Canucks fan with a kid who has a Flames jersey and Oilers hat on, and then another kid with a Canucks. How did I do that? With another Canucks jersey, talking to me while I'm on the air, completely ignoring the light, asking if I can watch his stuff for him. Excuse me, sir. We're doing a radio show here. Thank you very much. Not surprising that it's a Canucks fan with Flames fans for kids that also have Canucks gear and somehow an Oilers hat. How about that, Trev?
Yikes! What the heck happened there?
What a crazy mismatch.
Yeah, that's
I'm like, okay, yep. Okay, I'm on the air, dude.
Yeah, that's
just saying.
That's a horse with
There's a light that
with
says
a
on
different color, as my grandma would always say.
Ah, yes, wise words.
Yeah.
Wise words. A couple of things there from Chris Knoblauch that kind of stood out. The matchups thing. When he's like, I don't know if there's going to be matchups. There's going to be matchups. You know damn well there will be. He's just kind of playing coy on that one. We're just going to see what the matchups end up being. Like Gaffar was saying earlier in the show, is it going to be Pettersson on Draisaitl and McDavid? Is it going to be JT Miller against McDavid the whole time? Is it going to be Elias Lindholm on one of those guys? How is that going to stack up? We'll see how that develops in this game number one. Also, it is true, like, outside of that one game late in the year where the Oilers and Chris Knoblauch were resting guys, this is different. Maybe you could glean some things from what the Canucks did late in the season. I don't know how much you point back to those first couple of games, the three in where the hell are they going? Hello. Happy birthday, VR Montenegro. Look at that. Look at this train of nasties going out. I think they're going to go celebrate his birthday with Lieutenant Eric leading the way there. Nefarious things. I'm kidding. Anyway, I forgot my point. Let's just go to Rick Tocchet. It's going to be a great time here at the EST watch party here at Hudson's Bourbon Street. People are already having a great time. Let's go inside the Canucks room and hear from Rick Tocchet.
Can you tell us who your goalie is?
I'm going to talk to Clark at 6 p.m.
No.
It's Seeloff tonight. It's Seeloff.
What about Petey? I know you guys had a bit of a flu running through the building. Is it any concern?
No, I think he's fine. You know, I know some people are speculating we're hiding an injury. He had illness. We don't lie here. So for you guys that want to make it he's got a broken wrist or a broken back, he doesn't. He's just a little sick. So that's it.
How much more do you need from him offensively?
Well, I mean, obviously this is a big series. There's 8 teams left. He's a big factor for us. Hopefully, especially at home, we'll get him in some good situations on the ice. So hopefully he can take advantage of it.
Rick, you've had a chance to examine what Edmonton does so well. What's the biggest challenge for your team going into this series?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously, not to build them up too much because they're a hell of a team. There's some strengths that they have that we have to make sure that we're clean on. They're very good at attacking. They're good. They're one of the better teams at taking the puck to the net. They're underrated when it comes to. Everybody talks about star power and this tic-tac-toes, but to me, the net front for them on offensively, I think they're one of the best teams at getting that. Not just, Hyman's one of the best. Even Connor, even Perry, they have a lot of guys that hang around the net and go to the net when you beat pressure. So we got to be really stingy in front of our net.
So this Edmonton team has a lot of playoff experience. It's kind of seen that they've had enough experience now. It's their time to go for it. The rest of the NHL kind of looked at the Canucks this year as a team that maybe they just get this playoff experience. That's not the way you guys look at it, though, is it?
No, I don't feel like, I've heard it before. Well, they got to go through the losing for the, I don't believe in that. I think, those 6 games against Nashville, it was a tough series. We tried hard and Nashville's a good team. And we won. So I think we're going into this situation the same thing where, playoff experience, I think a guy like Hoglander, I thought his game, from the first game to the 6th game, that's good experience for him. I think that's going to help him for this series, being more calmer and playing his game. So that's experience right there. So, that's the way I look at it.
Is there something frustrating or motivating about being seen as the underdog going into this series, even though you guys finished first in the Pacific?
No, I don't. No, I don't care whether people pick or not. I mean, that's the business we're in. I was on the other side. You people ask your opinion, but I think if we felt we were at the start of the year underdogs and we're not this and that, I don't think we'd be in the position we are. I think guys, came into the season like, hey, we're a good hockey team, and that's the way we approach it. Like, we don't approach it to start, hey, we're underdogs and nobody expects to make the playoffs. I don't think I heard any of our players say that in training camp.
Rick, what's the confidence level in the penalty kill after what you guys did in the first series, and especially with a challenge like the Oilers' power play in the second?
All right, that was Rick Tocchet, a little sampling there of him. Yes, he was a member of the media up until last year, taking over late in the season for Bruce Boudreau behind the Canucks bench. All right, I've got an update for you on the Canucks lineup. Some interesting stuff. You heard Gaffar, Canucks reporter, talking about Ian Cole and the experience that he has in the postseason. He's not playing tonight. We had him initially on the back end with Zadorov, but it looks like it's going to be Noah Juulsen for the Canucks. So here's the lineup for Vancouver. Pettersson between Höglander and Mikheyev. We knew that. Miller between Pius Suter and Brock Besser. We knew that. Lindholm with Joshua and Garland. We knew that. As well as the fourth line, Teddy Bluger with Phil DiGiuseppe and Sam Lafferty. On defense, Hughes with Hronik, Soucy with Myers, and then Zadorov with Juulsen, and not Ian Cole. So the veteran Ian Cole is out. Arturs Shilovs between the pipes, obviously, for the Vancouver Canucks, who have been dealing with injury issues in goal. And then I'm looking here for the Oilers tonight, just to confirm, as expected, nothing changed. McDavid between Janmark and Hyman. Draisaitl with Nugent Hopkins and Kane. McLeod between Holloway and Perry. Ryan with Fogle and Brown. And then on defense, Ekholm Bouchard, Nurse with Ceci, Kulak, and Desharnais, and your goaltender for the Oil, one Stewart, Bartholomew, Skinner. So there you go. So Ian Cole is out. Noah Juulsen is in for the Vancouver Canucks. So that coming out of warm-up. Watching the other game going on in the Eastern Conference, game number 2 between the Bruins and the Florida Panthers. Some brouhahas erupting. 8 minutes left in the third period. 6-1. The Panthers inflicting some pain on the Bruins after the Bruins took care of business in game number 1 handily. So the Panthers returning a favor against Boston. And yeah, there's just been a bunch of fights. I saw Pat Maroon calling the entire Florida Panthers bench a bunch of bad words there after warm-up in game 1. And then, the Panthers remembered that. Not only are they getting into skirmishes with the Bruins, they're beating their asses on the scoreboard where it matters most. So that series is going to be knotted up going back to Boston. All right, YouTube Trev. We have some time because it is going to be a bit of a later start. It's not going to be 8 on the button. We know that. It's probably going to be around 8:17, maybe even 8:20. So we've got a little extra time. I know you want to get down here, but we have a couple things that we can run. We went through the lineups again. We've had Cass. We had Gaffar. Maybe we have a couple more clips that we want to show. What do you think?
Yeah. I'm totally okay with that, Tommy. He's set to make his playoff debut in the orange and blue for the Oilers. Conor Brown. It's game 1 for him. Let's go to him right now.
Nice.
Yeah, really excited. It's been since my time in Toronto, getting back in the playoffs, and obviously disappointing sitting out that first round, but watching the way the boys played, inspiring. So excited to get out there and do my thing.
This is where it really matters and really counts. So I guess you only have so many chances at this in your career. I imagine that you guys are aware of that. Yeah,
of course. I mean, these are the most fun games to play in. These are the type of games you want to be a part of as a player, and so especially with the group that we have. So, it's been a a year of getting better for me, and I feel like I feel I came on at the end of the year, and I feel good about my game, and so excited to get a taste of a little playoff action here.
Connor, throughout the year, you were doing so many things for this team, especially on the PK, but I know you really wanted the offense to come. In the late stages of that season, when your offense started to click a little bit more, what was going on differently for you that allowed you to see that success?
Well, I think I got out of my way a little bit mentally, coming off a long injury, obviously physical hurdles, and then, a little bit of a mental hurdle. And, I feel great about, who I'm being on the ice now, and I feel back to myself. And so, like I said, I'm just, I'm excited to get a little taste of playoff hockey here.
Offensive side, when did you feel like things were really clicking for you? That you kind of turned a corner?
I think last 15, 20 games of the season, started doing some work, and it paid dividends, and so I think got the ball moving downhill, and feel good about my game, and so it's nice to get in here and get a little taste of some competitive hockey.
The depth is, you guys have had really good players, not playing games, yourself included. But maybe just say something about the level of competition, the level of depth.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's. When you're sitting out, we still got good guys that are sitting out of the lineup, and I think that's kind of the recipe to have a team that's going to go deep. You're going to need everybody. It's a lot of hard fought battles if you want to get to the end here. So during my time out, I feel like I took a step forward in my game. Working with some coaches here, and getting a little stronger, a little faster, and so. Yeah, like you said, there's lots of internal competition, a really deep team and a good team. So, these are the clubs you want to be a part of.
Connor, where do you think this team has grown the most since October 11th, opening night here in Vancouver?
Well, I think the adversity can grow you, and I think that I think that's what this team's done is done a really good job of is taking a good honest look at the adversity we've gone throughout the year and learning from it and seeing how we can grow from it, and I think that's been the biggest testament of why we continue to get better.
All right, there's Conor Brown getting set to make his Oilers playoffs debut. Did sit out the entire first round. He was not happy about that when he didn't get the nod in round number 1 against the LA Kings. I'm watching the TVs here at Bourbon Street, pardon me, and did I just watch Matthew Tkachuk fight David Pastrnak? And they're going to shots of Keith Tkachuk and his lovely wife, giving thumbs up to fans, and he's very happy in his Panthers gear. Oh my good. Okay, they fought waiting to talk to the refs outside the ref circle by the penalty benches. Wow. So that's where this conversation started. And then they go to the benches. They're chatting. They relay the message from the officials to their respective coaches, and then they fought? Is that what I saw, Trev?
Yeah,
right when they came off the bench, they fought.
This is something I've never seen before. I was too busy making.
Pastrnak threw some bad punches that didn't land. That was good on him for doing that against Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah, huge props.
Yeah, who albeit is annoying and a pest, can throw down. He's a big boy. Okay, we have one thing I want to pass along news-wise. We're winding things down here on the pregame show. We've basically taken care of business, but some news just came down from Utah. And the NHL team formerly known as the Arizona Coyotes, owner Ryan Smith, putting out a fan survey, says, Utah, our NHL team is here. Help us choose a name. And there's a statement along with this, says that Utah is going to put this out to a vote. And they also added Utah's NHL franchise will don jerseys that display Utah during their inaugural season. So next year, the team name, once it's selected, SEG will work diligently, that's Smith Entertainment Group, to craft the team identity, logo, mascot, colors, and other branding elements, which will debut for the 25-26 season. Let us know what you think of these names now so we have our input to get closer to finalizing the name. I'm not going to lie, Trev. I think it's super lame that they're just going to do this for the first year.
Yeah.
And, the Winnipeg Jets were looking at either the Jets or the Polar Bears, and they obviously made the right choice by going to the Jets and not the Polar Bears. I think that this first year with Utah and not having a team name is, well, maybe they have the name but not the look, will be super lame.
You got.
But here we go. You want the list?
Yeah. Tell us the list.
Utah Outlaws, Utah Mammoth, Utah Frost, Utah Squall, Utah Fury, Utah Yeti, no S, Utah Hive, Utah Ice, Utah Canyons, Utah Caribou, Utah Swarm, Utah Venom, Utah Powder, Utah Freeze, Utah Blast, Utah Glaciers, Utah HC, Utah Blizzard, Utah Black Diamonds, Utah Mountaineers. I don't mind Mountaineers. I like Yetis. Outlaws, not bad. What do you think, Trev? Any of those stand out to you?
Yeah, I'm just looking up a Squall right now. I have no idea what that is.
I have no idea. Black Diamonds.
Black Diamonds is pretty. That's pretty rough as well. Yeah, the one that was first rumored was the Yetis, and I like that as well. But if they're going with Yeti, I don't know. That's kind of a miss for me. But like you come out with the bang, here is Utah, like the team, So the fact that the franchise, the fans, they have to wait a year. Like I don't know if that's gonna. It's not making a statement. That would lose me personally. So yeah.
Anyway, so there's some news coming out about the Utah team name and their uniforms that are just going to say Utah. Super lame. But maybe they come up with a cool name. They pick the right one, or the fans vote the right one, and they have a good look, and they just run with it. The Kraken figured it out, and certainly the Golden Knights did as well. Good luck to Utah with however they're approaching this process. All right, let's read off a couple of texts and wind things down here. This one from John T. Not in Victoria says, my idea is better than all those Utah Saints. That's not bad. And then John T. Not in Victoria also adds, I think Connor B is going to be shot out of a cannon tonight. That is Conor Brown. By the way, Conor Brown in the postseason, 20 games played, a goal, 4 assists, +2, 2 penalty minutes. Text out of Calgary says, Brady Tkachuk is tough. Matt is not, and also adds, all those names stink. Should have run with the Grizzlies name and jerseys. Pay the ECHL team for them. And then Calgary Glenn says, LFG, boys. All right, Trev, let's wind this bad boy down. Let's get you on there. Your thoughts going into Game 1, Round 2, Oilers versus Canucks, first time since 1992.
Yeah, it'll be nice. This is the series I've never seen, along with a lot of nasties as well. So what I'm expecting, honestly, I think it's going to be run and gun. I honestly think both teams, there's going to be a lot of chances. I'm expecting quite a bit of goals. As for Vancouver, they can whip the puck around probably just as good as any team in the NHL. And that'll be on full display tonight. You just watch it. Like they're probably one of the best passing teams. That's one thing I've noticed from, doing a little bit of research and just watching them throughout the season. You got to play physical. Don't be afraid to, the Quinn Hughes, Elias Pettersson, be sure to bang those bodies. And as well as the players, we talked about it. The Corey Perrys, Ryan McLeods, Warren Fogels, those guys, if it's not tonight, eventually you'd like to see them chime in offensively. So I'm expecting a great game tonight. It's going to be awesome. I love this. So many stories. I talked about this to start the show. A lot of the headlines, coming into the Canucks, just they steamrolled them. So the Oilers are going to have to be, give 110%. I'm expecting that. So it's going to be awesome. I cannot wait, Tommy. Let's go.
Let's go. First time in 32 years, Edmonton has won both series against the Vancouver Canucks in the playoffs over the course of these two teams' histories, in 86 in 3 games, and then in 92 in 6 games. Edmonton 2-2 all-time at Vancouver in the playoffs, 7-2 all-time total against Vancouver in the postseason. The last time Edmonton won a game in Vancouver in the playoffs, Joe Murphy at 8:36 of overtime to win it 4-3, May 3rd, 1992. You like that one, Trev? That's a deep dive.
What's a Joe Murphy? Yeah, I'm just checking.
Joe Murphy was the first overall pick in the 1986 NHL draft, traded to the Oilers in, I think, 88, 89, and won a cup with Edmonton in 90. Unfortunately, concussions, and he's got some issues now. There was a documentary, really sad one about him. He's homeless. Hopefully he's gotten some help. I know there's been some former NHLers and the PA looking to help him out, and the Alumni Association. But that one is a tough story. But he was a hell of a hockey player back in the mid-'80s, early '90s, and actually into the early 2000s. Had a good run with Chicago and San Jose, but definitely fell on some tough times and was a pretty good Oiler for a couple of years. So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I have one more text from Glenn. Says, LFG boys. Very nice. Utah Squall is like a winter storm. Yeah, some of those names are pretty darn lame. Ace says, how about the Mighty Hamsters? Ugh. It's about as good as some of those names that are listed as options. That's for sure. All right, that's going to do it for the Oil Stream pregame show presented by GCL Diesel. A big thank you to Gaffar, Canucks reporter, for stopping by, giving us the scoop on those Vancouver Canucks. Big thank you to everybody who turned out tonight. EST Watch Party in full effect here at Hudson's Bourbon Street. Come on down. I'm down to $10 GCs. Gave away all the 20s. That's how popular this is. So come on down. Take advantage of Wing Night, 49-cent wings, $6 house loggers here at Hudson's. And if you are closer to the White Ave location, go see my boy Connor down there as well. For YouTube, Trev and Matthew Kassian, I'm Tom Gazzola saying thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Enjoy the Oilers versus the Canucks. We'll catch up with you on the postgame show.